Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and we're back to another episode of Chase Thomas Podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me down there in Decatur, Georgia, my good friend, fellow University of North Georgia alumni and host of the Georgia Voice of College Football, Matt Green, is here. Matt, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, sir. It is good to be back with you. Big week, Georgia-Bama week, man. Can't wait.
It's a big week. I'm very excited for this game on Saturday night. I don't love that it's on the same time as Oregon, Penn State, but it's okay. I'm just glad Tennessee is not playing the same time. That would have been annoying if Tennessee was playing at night, same time as Georgia, Bama here on this Saturday evening. So I am grateful that it's the afternoon. I wish it was the 11 a.m. kick, like that LSU Tennessee game in 22. That'd be prime time, because I think I would actually have Tennessee win in a big one if Tennessee got Mississippi State early in the morning in Starkville. But
I missed the same thing. It's 11 a.m. local time.
No. It's a 3:30 kick. We played LSU.
Shoot. I thought Mississippi State, Tennessee was at noon. That's at 3:30?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was Samsonite. I was way off.
Actually, I think it's a weird time too. It's not even like 8:30, because you know how the times are different now. Yeah, 4:15. Like I don't even know. Like we used to be a proper country. 4:15.
I mean, we could learn something from the English Premier League, maybe European soccer in general. If the game is starting at 3:30, that thing kicks off at 3:30. The countdown is to 3:30. It's like not the coverage starts and then kickoffs at 3:51. I don't know. That's a pet peeve of mine.
The Premier League does it right, because you know what? One of my favorite things, I watch a lot of it, like a lot of Liverpool, like after the fact. I tape it because I'm not watching like Saturday morning at 7:30 or Sunday morning at 7. Like it's just no, too much of an ask. But what I do is
watch a lot Sunday at like 9 a.m. though. Those are
like to start your day with some coffee. Like it's really nice. But you know what? The games I open it up on my DVR, 2 hours. It's the most efficient way to watch sports. It's never 4.5, because like if you're not watching them live in college football and you're like, oh gosh, this thing is just going to take so much time. There's no reason that it should be double the time it takes to play a football game as opposed to a soccer game. But here we are.
Yeah, what can you do?
Because it's not the action, it's the ads and everything else. You know,
they've at least started putting that timer though, like on ESPN or ABC. And so whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and set that. They'll have like countdown to kickoff, and it's actually 3:47 or whatever time.
So that means it's definitely 4:30 when Tennessee and Mississippi State kick off. They're not kicking off at 4:15.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Green, both back. Georgia had a bye last week. Tennessee obviously beating up on Trent Dilfer, and UAB back on the road for their first SEC road game here, Matt Green. So we'll get into our balls and dogs part of the conversation. But before we get into that, our week 5 pick'em and a whole lot more on today's episode of a Pod Divided Balls versus Dogs. Matt Green, I gotta pick your brain here at the top. Bama. Which Bama loss in the Saban versus Kirby and Mark Richt era was worse for Georgia fans? Like, what is still the number one that just really still bothers you the most? What's the one? What's the one that hurt the most?
I know there's some butterfly effect people out there that like think that somehow losing the SEC championship in 2012 was like led to Richt being fired and then ultimately Kirby, you know, that sort of thing. But I don't think anything compares to 2012, because just with what Mark Richt, the 2012 SEC championship, just with how Mark Richt's career went, it was just, I don't know. I felt like the whole fan base could kind of feel this was like the last gasp of like a national championship contender. And it really was. When you look at what Georgia was in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2012 was just, and what obviously Notre Dame fans take exception to, like, oh, well, Alabama beat us like that, but Georgia wouldn't have beat us like that. It's hard to argue, like, with how uncompetitive that game was, when that was maybe the greatest SEC championship of all time with Georgia Bama. and just how it ended too, that it's like, it's not like you got into the red zone and then Bama stopped you 4 straight times. It's like the catch that was made and then the clock just runs out and it's just like, oh, like we had all this momentum and now it's over. It was just, I don't think anything compares to like just how much of a gut punch like that was. Like obviously the national championship in 2017 is a bigger game. It just felt like in 2012 it was like to get to the national championship, so it's almost as big. And in 2017 also was just like, that's Kirby's second year. So it's like in year 2, we're losing to Bama in overtime, like in the national championship, like we're right there. Like I think that was Kirby's message after that game. It's like, we're not going anywhere as a program. Like this was kind of a stepping stone. Like we almost felt like it was like too soon to even be there. Georgia was just happy to be in that game, right? You beat Oklahoma, you won one of those huge national games, and then you almost won a championship. Honestly, 2018 felt like a more of a gut punch, the SEC championship the following year, than that national championship. The fact that just the reverse thing happened with Tua coming in for Jalen Hurts and then Jalen Hurts coming in for Tua, and then the fake punt with Justin Fields, that was that one was I don't know, it's up there too.
Yeah. It is interesting because I mean, last year too, I imagine was really annoying. Where you're like, oh, it's over, and then like because last year, if you don't have the national title win, I wonder where last year ranks for Georgia fans, because obviously Saban's gone your first matchup post Saban with DeBoer, and you get down in this crazy hole 28-0, and you come all the way back, and then Ryan Williams does Ryan Williams things, and you lose in heartbreaking fashion. Like, I wonder where that would actually rank if you didn't beat Alabama in the national title game, because I feel like that would be sneaky up there.
Yeah, that's probably true. Just because of the roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
I think what would be higher on the list, if not for those 2 national championships, is 2023 and the one national championship win against Alabama. But 2023 in the SEC championship, because that team was just so not on Georgia's level the entire season. That Alabama team just played with so many like mediocre teams throughout the year. What were the losses in 2023? If you go back, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Jalen Milroe was just so up and down. It was just not a great Alabama team. They lost twice, I believe, or no, they just had the one loss. Oh, they lost. That was the year they lost to Texas. That was the only loss was to Texas, a playoff team. But that team was just so not dominant. And that 2023 Georgia team, I think people kind of forget just how good that offense was, like how elite Carson Beck was that year with Bowers and McConkey, and that team, that offense was just so elite. And that Alabama team was just did not feel elite the entire season. And then all of a sudden that team beats you. That felt like the biggest discrepancy, like, of going into a matchup in this Georgia Alabama series, to me at least. Like, Georgia's 12-0, number 1 team in the country, and Alabama had struggled. There's probably number 6 or 7 going into that game, and even though they did only have the one loss, but yeah. And so for that one, I think if not for the 2 championships, that would have felt like just a huge missed opportunity of missing out on and then how the rest of all 4 conference champions, or all 5 conference champions, were kind of elite 1-loss teams that year, and you lost the 1 game and miss out on the playoff. Like, I think if not for the championships, 2023 might be bigger.
I like it. Well, Matt Green, Tennessee fans got some positive news here this week. I believe it's from Pete Nakos on some injury updates for the Vols. No real news on David Sanders yet, but seems unlikely. He's going to be available on Saturday against Mississippi State. So we'll see if after the bye week if he can get back and make his debut against Arkansas maybe in 2 weeks, because someone else might be targeting their return for Arkansas with Tennessee after this bye week and after obviously Mississippi State. But Jermod McCoy, who has just been kind of lurking on the outside, obviously Ricky Gibson not around. Colton Hood's been an awesome plug and play guy for Tennessee at the corner spot. But I do think it's interesting ultimately that Jermod McCoy now getting the rumors, and it's ramping up that Jermod McCoy might be back here for the Arkansas game. And obviously first team All-American kind of guy, has not been available all year from his knee injury in January. But Chris Lowe and Pete Nako said, quote, Tennessee All-American cornerback Jermod McCoy has not played yet this season as he recovers from a torn ACL, which he injured back in January. Sources have told On3 that Arkansas is being targeted as a return date for McCoy. That would give him a chance to get back on the field before Tennessee visits Alabama on October 18th. That would be pretty wild to get Jermod McCoy back in that spot. He's someone that Tennessee fans obviously would have loved to have in the Georgia game. It's something that I will always kind of wonder about in that game. Does Gunnar Stockton try Jermod McCoy in that spot to London Humphreys on fourth down? Is that the call just going at him if he's on one side, Colton Hood's on the other? How does that game differ in so many ways because of what we've learned about Colton Hood, who he is going to be a high NFL draft guy if he continues at the pace that he's on. I mean, it's just not the same level of fanfare a year ago that Jermod had, and Jermod's unbelievable, and Jermod was such a big deal for Tennessee. But I do think it's such a big potential deal because Tennessee's got to get Jermod back. Like if Boo is still going to be someone in the rotation at star with Jalen McMurray, and you're not going to slide McMurray down, you've got to Ty Redmond's been awesome as a plug-and-play true freshman, but he got picked on so much in that Georgia game. We'll see what it looks like for him against Mississippi State. But Jermod coming back for Arkansas and obviously for Alabama in the stretch run of SEC play would be huge for Tennessee. If you're able to get a healthy Jermod for the majority of conference play, that's fantastic. So if that happens, David Hobbs back too for Arkansas potentially. You're getting Jackson Moy back officially this week. Tennessee's defense getting healthy in a hurry will be huge for the Vols. And like I said, I'll always have the what if of what happens in the Georgia game if Jermod is on one side from Colton Hood, because I think that if they get him back, that's one of the best cornerback tandems in all of college football with Jermod and Colton Hood, because Colton Hood has just been unbelievable as a Colorado transfer here. And Tennessee has hit home runs in the transfer portal and back-to-back cycles with Jermod and Colton, because those are both NFL corners. And yeah, I'm so excited because he's just been kind of cautiously optimistic about Jermod, but that he's trending potentially for Arkansas. Like, yeah, you love him here, but man, that would be huge for Tennessee to get him back after the second game of conference play.
Is Arkansas next week?
After a bye. So 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I thought the same thing kind of in terms of like projecting Gunnar Stockton and Georgia's passing game of like, let's keep in mind Tennessee's replacing both of their corners. Like that was an inexperience. A lot of the Georgia's biggest plays in that game were against the true freshmen. So, we'll see if they were just taking advantage of a weakness or how elite that passing game really is this year. Because Jermod McCoy, that's going to be huge for Tennessee to get back.
100%. I've missed watching Jermod McCoy play cornerback for the Tennessee Volunteers. So fingers crossed, feeling good there. But David Hobbs back potentially that same week as well. They really need in the interior. Jackson Moy back this week against Mississippi State. But yeah, a lot of good folks on the defensive side of the ball getting back here in a hurry. So fingers crossed on that front. Before we get into our college football week 5 pick'em though, Matt Green, are you a fan? We have not taped since it got announced who Tennessee and Georgia's 3 permanent SEC rivals. I already talked about Tennessee's obviously on this program throughout the week, but are you a fan of UGA's 3 permanent opponents? Were you surprised by who they picked? And is there a strangest SEC permanent rival to you that was announced this week?
I can't say I was surprised because Georgia was one of the 3 teams that I nailed all 3 of them. The other 2 were Arkansas and Texas. Big fan of both of those rivalries. I am definitely a fan of this new schedule. I think the thing I'm the biggest fan of is the everyone playing everyone in a 2-year span. Everybody love everybody. Jackie Moon, wise words. But yeah, I was surprised by a few of these matchups. I think the geography aspect, like honestly, I couldn't only take it for a little bit watching this show. Did you actually watch the show when it was being released?
No.
Man, it just felt like SEC propaganda. It was just like, it was kind of insane. It was like how they were like justifying like all the things they did and everything. But the fact that I said this, that was my prediction, and kind of looking at it now, it feels like it was taken into account, was the competitiveness of the three teams. And I think that's the biggest mistake they made, because I think that's why we don't have Alabama LSU is trying to keep the competitive aspect of it. So I think if you look at if you're going to have an easier quote unquote locked rivalries, then the teams you're rotating in are going to be super difficult. Like, it doesn't really matter who you are. Everyone's schedule is going to be tough. So that's one thing that disappointed me, but the geography aspect of it too, I think, is cool. Like, to try to get teams to play the teams that are the schools that are closest to them. Like, that's a positive for the fans, like to potentially be able to drive. I had no idea Alabama and Mississippi State were like an hour and a half apart until they said that last night. I honestly just it didn't really occur to me.
No, I'm the same. I learned that too. Like, I did not know they were, because I have a buddy who's on this program who's going to Tennessee, Mississippi State this weekend, and he's staying in Tuscaloosa and commuting over to Starkville for the game. And I'm like, how does that work? And he's like, it's like a little over an hour. And you're like, what? Tuscaloosa to Starkville? I never would have guessed that. Never would have guessed that.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I feel like Florida's locked rivalries, I feel like, were kind of disappointing, because it feels like Florida has so many rivals. And oh man, I just had it pulled up a second
Georgia,
ago.
South Carolina, and Kentucky.
Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky. It's just, I don't know. I feel like Kentucky, they beat Kentucky like 40 years in a row or something. And then and like the last decade, it's become like competitive. But I don't know, to see, I guess when you're talking geography, Tennessee, Florida, that didn't necessarily work. Like Florida LSU or something like that, or like Florida Auburn if you want to go way back. But yeah, I think some of those were disappointing, but I think that was like, you're bound to have some of these games that like that. One of the things I was more disappointed on is Georgia going at Alabama again in 2026. Like, damn. It'll be in a 7-year period. Georgia will play in Tuscaloosa 3 times and in Athens once. So, go figure that, SEC offices. The bias against Georgia continues. But no, I think with some of these, I think they tried to preserve, and I like they were showing like the all-time matchups, like Kentucky, Tennessee. Yeah, maybe a lot of people don't value that rivalry, but it feels like Tennessee is the team Kentucky hates the most. You know what I mean? Or like kind of like South Carolina, Georgia. It feels like Georgia is the team that South Carolina hates the most. So it's you kept some of those. South Carolina, Florida, like, yeah, I guess that's fine. SEC East,
the Spurrier Bowl,
the Spurrier, yeah, exactly, the Spurrier connection. So, but yeah,
do we call Vanderbilt, Mississippi State the Jefferson Pilot Sports Bowl?
I guess you can if you want. Is that one of the locked rivalries?
Yeah, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State.
Okay, so yeah, they're probably not too far apart either if you're just talking geography as well. Because wasn't
the only
Vanderbilt,
one I would say that was weird, and Lane Kiffin talked about it. There's only one weird one: Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Like, there's just that there's no history in it. Lane, I appreciate talking about it. Like, yeah, this is just it that one makes no sense, but everything else I'm mostly fine with. I think
because Vanderbilt was Ole Miss's like locked rival in the SEC in the East West. Whatever that stands for, but yeah, LSU was one they had to keep. Obviously, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, like they were gonna have to get stuck with somebody that they probably didn't have history with, unless you just wanted to stick them with all the Big 12 teams. So I mean, they could have.
They did that with most of them. I mean, a lot of them had that. I mean, Texas literally only has the Big 12 teams: Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Oklahoma.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess Arkansas was never Big 12, but yeah,
but
the
they
Southwest
were in the
Conference.
Yeah, I count the Southwest Conference.
Yeah. I'm glad Arkansas, Texas feels like it has some history.
Yeah.
Like, so that's a good one that they kept. So I feel like for the most part, like I can't disagree with a lot of it. Like A&M and Missouri, like matching them up, the old Big 12, yeah, I'm cool with most of it. And like I said, like you're gonna get everybody every other year. So I just don't think there's really gonna be a narrative of like strength of schedule type of stuff like in the future. Um, yeah, that was the other thing from the program, them talking about the college football playoff. It was like they've sent a message to the rest of the college, the strength of schedule matters and all this stuff. And I don't know, it was just getting real propaganda-y to me. But yeah, I think just because like teams like a Stetson Bennett was a 2-year starter, you can kind of feel like that was a Georgia team. It was kind of an era, 2021 and 2022, and so there you can have teams that kind of just last for like a couple years and there's so much turnover. So to have everyone kind of like a 2-year starter, it's like a normal thing to be a 2-year starter, and you could potentially play every team in the SEC in your 2 years as a starter. Like I think that's kind of a cool element to all of this.
For sure. One other thing before we get into our pick on this week, Matt Green. I like Brett McMurphy over there at On3, man. He stirs the pot, and he wrote a column today about the Big Ten not requiring a 9+1 non-conference P4 game that the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 all do, where they have their 9 conference games and then they play one Power 4 out of conference game, and all that nonsense this summer out from Kurt Signetti and the way the Big Ten was talking about everything. It's like, nah, you got to do it, man. But my whole thing is like, we all know we're going to do this anyway, so we're all puffing our chest out now. But I think it's a nothing burger for right now. But I do think the Big Ten SEC thing's going to happen, right? Like, it just makes too much sense that they eventually that's what they do, is they do 9 conference games plus it's a new version of the alliance that we had, the 3 conference alliance from a couple of years ago. It's going to be like a Big Ten SEC alliance where it's just they're agreeing to schedule, even though it won't really work because it's not the same number of teams. But I guess maybe you have to wait until.
I thought they are at 16. They're both at 16.
No, Big Ten has 18, right?
Big Ten has 18 teams.
Yeah, Shit. I think so.
You're right, because they added the 4 teams from the
yeah they're at 18.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. So yeah, I guess that is true. So
yeah, you scared me for a second. I'm like, wait, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure
they add North Carolina,
UNC and Virginia or something, you can do it. I guess.
Something like that.
But what do you think about that? Is it soft to you, or it's like they haven't come out and just been like, all right, we're going to do the 9+1 as well? Because they're the only P4 conference that doesn't have that going into next year.
Yeah, and they made a real big deal about the 9 conference games, and it's just like, I just wanted to roll my eyes when Big Ten people would tell me that. It's like an 8-game SEC schedule is more difficult than a 9 games. Like, I don't really care what you say. Like, those extra games versus Northwestern and whoever. Obviously, there's bad teams in every conference, but
I mean, Penn State did not play a non-con Power 4 team this year. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's silly.
So I'm glad we can like just take that off the table. Like, I think there was still an argument that the SEC schedule was more difficult on average than the average Big Ten schedule when it was 8 games versus 9 games. Now you just take that off the table, and they can't, like, there's not many SEC teams that aren't scheduling competitive out of conference games. Like, maybe not every single year, but, you've seen the way Florida is scheduled in recent years. You've seen the way Georgia's scheduled out of conference in recent years. Like, you've seen LSU, like the season opener, like 5 or 6 years in a row now. Like, you're seeing a lot of SEC teams with some big time home and homes with non-conference opponents, and you're not seeing that as much in the Big Ten, in my opinion. Like, obviously, Ohio State and Texas played each other, Michigan and Oklahoma played each other, but outside of those, I mean, it was a while ago that Penn State had that home and home with Auburn, right? Like, I can't think of that many, and maybe I'm wrong. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but outside of Ohio State and Michigan, I can't think of many of like big time non-conference games that these Big Ten teams have played.
Yeah, well, I'm very curious what happens here going into next year. But yeah, that just can't happen. Like, Penn State should not get away with but because like it only hurts those real contenders. You know what I mean? Like, and then I think people run with it where it's like, oh, they haven't played anybody. And you're like, well, that doesn't mean they're not really good. The Big Ten's won the last 2 national titles.
Yeah.
2 things can be true. They're playing a weaker schedule than a lot of SEC schools, but they can still win the national title. And I think people equate the two, where it's like you can't have one without the, or you can. I think they struggle to understand that both can be true, which is the schedule, the weighted schedule, and all that kind of stuff is not even between the SEC and the Big Ten. But also explain to SEC fans, like, well, that doesn't mean that Auburn and or Oregon and Ohio State and Michigan and whoever, the top of the Big Ten, are not still good enough to beat the top of the SEC. You know what I mean? Like they equate they equate two things where it's like, oh, they're not real. They haven't scheduled them. It's like, how many titles do they have to win in a row before you're like, all right, maybe the top of the Big Ten's pretty good. They just don't play as hard of a schedule as we do. Like both can be true.
Yeah, and there's always some bad teams at the bottom of the SEC, but when you're talking like, 8 through 12 or something in the SEC, it's just, I feel like it's significantly more 6 through 12 or so. I feel like it's significantly more competitive than the Big Ten has been in recent years. But
I wonder what the line would be with UCLA, Kentucky on a neutral site if you did it this week.
Like Kentucky's a bad team. Like I just don't think Kentucky is good. So I'm not going to go to bat with Kentucky.
No, what I'm saying, I'm genuinely curious. I don't know who'd be favoring a UCLA Kentucky neutral site. I guess Kentucky.
I mean, Florida versus,
Florida be favored. Yeah.
I don't know, Minnesota or something like that. Like, I don't know.
I would take Minnesota probably.
And Minnesota's not necessarily at the bottom. That could be disrespectful.
No, they're mid-tier.
Michigan State versus Florida. Like
Michigan State's got some spunk. I would maybe take Michigan State on a neutral site too.
Yeah, so I don't know. But obviously Auburn did lose both games. They played to Penn State, but that's what, maybe your third best team versus the 7th or 8th best team. I can't remember which years Auburn played them, but yeah, right now they've played Villanova, FIU, and Nevada at a conference, or Nevada. I'm not sure how. I think Nevada is actually the right pronunciation, but it's not important right now.
I've never heard a local resident say it. Like that's what I want.
Honestly, I'm getting my information from the show Veep. They corrected her, like telling her it's Nevada like a few times, but I don't know. I've always said Nevada. So who knows? Question. Who knows what's true?
I don't even know what I say. And you and I are both Reno 911 fans. I don't think they've ever said Nevada on the show, because I was trying to think back if anyone said it, and I don't recall. I've heard Reno, but I've never heard.
It's funny you bring that up. I actually I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes of that show, like the last like week or so. Like
for like the first time?
No, just like randomly rewatching it. Tori's never seen it, but
it's great.
It's even funnier than I remember, honestly. It's hysterical.
Before it got canceled and they did the final 2 seasons where they came back years later. I mean, it's just great stuff. Like Reno 911, fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
love Reno 911. Well, Matt Green, it's time for our Week 5 pick'em. Where do things stand going into Week 5, sir?
All right, going into Week 5. I know you have. I think we got flip-flopped here. So yeah, you have a 2-game lead, money line, 31-14 on the year. I'm 29-16, and then against the spread, I got a 3-game lead on you, 28-17. 62% on the year, and you 25-20, 55%. Let's round to 56% on the season. And then Zeus is 2-2 with his home dog of the week through the first 4 weeks. So we'll see if Zeus can pick it up. Duke and Nebraska let him down so far this year.
We shall see, Matt Green. Well, let's kick things off. Biggest game of the weekend, Alabama at Georgia. 2.5 point home favorites are the Bulldogs. What say you, Matt Green? Are you going?
I don't have a ticket right now. So, I'm not necessarily in the tax bracket of the people going to this game, I'm afraid. But I'm refreshing the tickets every day or so to see if I can find a diamond in the rough or something. I don't know. Might go to Athens. I haven't necessarily decided yet. Just to be part of the energy, watch it somewhere. But no, I'm not 100% sure yet. But
okay,
it's a massive game. It's I'm wondering how big of a factor the home field advantage is going to be in this game, because Alabama has obviously dominated Georgia in recent history, but it's just crazy that this is the first time since Kirby Smart was the head coach that this is going to be played in Athens. So I think it's just going to have a different level of energy. It feels like Georgia fans have been waiting for this Alabama game at home for a long time because the energy is different in Sanford Stadium ever since Kirby Smart got hired. Like not since they won championships, but since he was the head coach. It's like half the fan base didn't want the coach fired every time they didn't get a first down or something. So it's a different level of energy. Night games in Sanford Stadium. It's one of the loudest places in college football. It's like you want to rank it wherever you want to rank it. It's like 1 through 10. They're all super loud environments that are difficult to play, especially at night. So I look at what Georgia did to Tennessee, and I feel like some of the stress is off of Gunnar Stockton. Obviously, he still has to have a big game. We were talking about the injury report coming in. Juan Gaston not on the injury report, but Ernest Green appears to be out for this game. So, that's big. But also Ernest Green hadn't been playing very well. I think he's been dinged up all season. So, just having him out. Bo Hughley was the one that came in for the third offensive tackle that played in that Tennessee game, and he played pretty well. So. Well, he's probably that guy at left tackle or at right tackle, I would think. And maybe it's Juan Gaston. Maybe it's Uini, and I'm blanking. Oh shoot, I'm blanking on the true freshman Glover.
Yeah,
is that I'm blanking on his first name, but Glover, the true freshman, has also played well in that right guard spot. At
D. It's not Deion Glover. What is it?
Yeah, I knew it was a D, but I'm just blanking. I'm saying Danny Glover, and I know that's wrong.
What is his name? It's driving me nuts because he's from Langston Hughes. Here, I can find it while we're looking.
Dontrell Glover? Is that
Dontrell Glover? That's it.
Yeah, so he's played well to this point in the season. But yeah, with how Tennessee just exposed Georgia's defense, I think on the road it's going to be different than at home. So I think Georgia's defense will play better than they did against Tennessee. But man, it's with how they won one-on-one matchups against these Georgia corners. I mean, it's not an easier matchup going against Alabama's receivers. So that's probably the biggest concern I have for Georgia. But I mean, to this point, and maybe Georgia can't replicate exactly what Tommy Castellanos was doing, and run all over Georgia, run all over Alabama the way Florida State did. But I think the fact that Alabama was not able to run the ball at all on Florida State, and Florida State kind of ran all over them, I think there's a scenario where Gunnar Stockton doesn't necessarily have to ball out, and Georgia can win this game if they're able to control the line of scrimmage. I think Georgia running the ball is the most important factor in probably this whole game. So I think I've said multiple things are the most important factor already. But
you only get one, Matt Green.
But yeah, so I don't know. The scenario where Georgia wins this big is if they're not getting any big plays in the passing game, because Alabama, that is, because I think there's a scenario where Ty Simpson has to throw the ball 40, 50 times and Alabama beats Georgia 42-40 or something. You know what I mean? But if they're not making big plays in the passing game, I don't see a scenario where Alabama goes out and runs for 250 yards. And even if we don't think this is a great Georgia defense, I just don't see that happening. So if Alabama is able to run the ball consistently, that's going to be massive. I think Georgia was able to kind of limit Tennessee. It wasn't like they didn't shut down Tennessee's run game, but I would say they had a better run game in that game. So they won the rushing battle for lack of a better term. So I've said a lot. I don't know. You can respond to anything I said, I guess.
No, I mean, you go like that. It's a big game, and obviously, I don't think you're 100% on where you're going to go with your pick here. Is what I'm gathering. Is you're back and you're wishy-washy on where you actually. I think your heart and your head is in two different places when it comes to this game on Saturday, Matt Green.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think that there's this mental block that Alabama has over Kirby Smart in Georgia. You know what I mean? I don't. I think there have been times that those things exist. I think all of college football had a Nick Saban and Alabama problem. They were beating most teams they ever played. So and Georgia played well in a lot of these matchups and just for whatever reason didn't come out on top. If Kalen DeBoer goes 2-0 against Georgia, beats him in Athens, I don't know. I might change my mind. Like maybe there's something here. This is the lowest ranked Alabama team we've seen the entire time Kirby Smart has been the head coach. It's in Athens for the first time. If this team beats Georgia, I don't know. Maybe it truly is Kirby Smart's kryptonite.
Am I crazy, Matt Green? I look at this matchup. Ty Simpson's obviously balling out right now. Bama still owns this rivalry until proven otherwise. They obviously won last year, and DeBoer versus Kirby won. DeBoer gets up for the big games. He's got a great record, obviously, against Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart and company. And we'll see if he can keep that going here on the road in Athens this weekend. But I think Ty Simpson has rebounded well since the Florida State debacle, which, again, I don't know how much was him. The offensive line was terrible. The whole day was just a disaster, but he's completing 70+% of his passes. Like he's doing really well. Ryan Williams balled out against Wisconsin on the road. He had 5 receptions, 165 yards, 2 TDs. And then against Florida State, 5 for 35. So that how Ryan Williams performs against Georgia in this game will be pretty interesting. Bama, the DeBoer stat that's really wild to me is he's 2-4 on the road at Alabama. And those 2 wins are at LSU, where he blew them out, and at Wisconsin when he blew the Badgers out last year. So 2-4, if you're a Bama fan, is a little scary early on. But Bama's 9th in defense, and Georgia got torched early last year in this game against the Tide, like I said. And then they got torched early against Tennessee, giving up 21 points in the first quarter. So Joey Aguilar was perfect. 14 of 14 in that first quarter. Like Tennessee lit Georgia's secondary up. Chris Brazzell absolutely abused Georgia's secondary for the majority of that game. KJ Bolden obviously did not have a good game in that one. You kind of wonder who's CB2 across from Dalen Everett. Is it going to be Harris? Is he going to be okay? Whether it's Isaiah Horton or Ryan Williams or whoever. But I think Georgia's susceptible to giving up a lot of big plays in this game. I think Georgia's back end. I'm not convinced that Georgia's secondary is great. I also worry because Georgia's secondary is still trying to get their footing. The problem to me I think if I'm a Georgia fan, is a little scary is like the front 4 has not been super scary. Like, so Georgia's dead last in the SEC in tackles for loss, which is pretty jarring through 4 weeks. So the TFLs have not been there for their front 7. I don't know. The Georgia's defense it's odd because I was pretty high on them going in the Tennessee game. There's just some weird stuff to me that I don't know if I'm a Georgia fan. I feel great based on what Tennessee did to carve you up. And I don't know how much you're really going to be able to clean that up in 2 weeks against Alabama. And Alabama's number 1 in the SEC in turnover margin. They're +6 on the season. So Alabama's done really well in the turnover margin. Georgia's going to have to win the turnover battle. Bama's done well there this season. So I think a lot of the signs to me just points to Alabama. Because if you give Ty Simpson time and Ryan Williams is able to go off and assimilate it to Chris Brazzell, I mean, you saw how this ended last year. And I have real questions about Georgia's secondary. We'll see how the offense bounced back, but I think Bama's defense is a lot better than I think people are giving them credit for since the Florida State game. We'll see how it all unfolds. I think it's going to be a classic, but I think Alabama's winning this game. I think Alabama's going to go into Athens and beat Georgia here. Give me Alabama. I think it's going to be another high-scoring, crazy game. I think Georgia's defense is going to get cooked again. Give me Alabama 38, Georgia 35.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I can't definitively say anything you said is wrong. You know, I think we don't know that much about this Georgia team to this point. I'm starting to think we're going to be talking about Tennessee as maybe the best offense in the SEC this year. And so is Alabama that good? Like, I don't know that I care as much about the Wisconsin and ULM results as I do about the on the road at Florida State result, you know, and that is week 1. Maybe they've come a long way in the last month. But if they were going to struggle at Florida State and kind of get physically, I would say they got kind of physically dominated in that game, the way Florida State was able to run the ball. I don't know that Alabama's front is better than Tennessee's this year. Like, especially you talk about on the road, you know, as opposed to playing at home. And I also think because I feel like we were talking last week, it was going to be a rock fight Georgia, Tennessee. It feels like now everyone knows like this is going to be a shootout, Georgia, Alabama. And I wonder if it kind of just goes back the other way and we do see more of a defensive matchup. So I'm going to go Georgia wins this game 23-20. I don't feel great about it. I think this Alabama team, especially when you talk about kind of who needs this more, like Alabama needs this game more. Like Georgia needs it from like a narrative, like a fan ego perspective. Like we just like want to get Alabama out of our heads. But this would be the first loss of the season against maybe the best team you play all season, one of the best teams you play. So Alabama, to have a second loss before the end of September is just, the world is ending type stuff. So Alabama does need this game more. The backs are against the wall, but I don't know. I don't trust their ability to run on Georgia without the element of the quarterback running. And Ty Simpson is not a statue or anything, but he's not Jalen Milroe, and Jalen Milroe just gave this defense all kinds of problems the last couple of years.
Where are we going next, Matt Green?
Let's go over to your boys. Going to Starkville, Tennessee at Mississippi State. I don't have the line in front of me. Do you have the line?
Yes, 7.5.
7.5. Tell me about it, man. Are you want me to go first? And how do you want to do this?
You go first, and I'm interested to see what you say about this matchup before I get into this.
Okay, so I feel like I'm just going off kind of vibes on this one. I do think Tennessee is one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the SEC this year. But I think I'm legitimately worried about this kind of Heupel on the road narrative. Like, just I don't think. Obviously I still think Heupel is a great coach and everything. And I just, as good as Aguilar was against Georgia a couple weeks ago, like, and as good as they've been against every cupcake they've played so far, like that's kind of been a common thing for Tennessee quarterbacks under Josh Heupel, minus the playing that well against Georgia. Like that was something Aguilar has done that none of the other ones did. But I just going on the road, I feel like Mississippi State has a confidence about them. They beat Arizona State. They've looked good to this point. The offense has been pretty solid to this point. I kind of think Mississippi State's going to give Tennessee a game in this one. Like I think it's I can't pick Mississippi State to win this game, but the 7.5 I think is the part that I think Mississippi State could cover that. So give me Tennessee to win. I'm going to say 34-27. Mississippi State keeps it close.
Interesting. This has been really hard. The closer this game gets to game time, I'm curious to see where I ultimately feel. We're taping this late on a Wednesday night. So Tennessee obviously loses their SEC opener in heartbreaking fashion to Georgia. They should have won that football game. Kirby said as much after the game, and
he's just
hurt.
being nice.
I don't think so. But it was also just a deal where, look, let's see how they had a nice little in between with UAB. I would have always been curious to know how they would have gotten up off the mat had you had Mississippi State on the road following Georgia. But you have 2 weeks basically to get right and to brush it off and just keep it moving, because you still have the playoff in front of you and all types of other great stuff in front of you with how the rest of the season is breaking around you. I mean, South Carolina, obviously out, Florida out, Oklahoma, we'll see if they can keep it together without John Mateer for a while. So a lot of stuff is kind of trending in the Vols' direction. I mean, they might need some help from somebody to knock off Mizzou sooner rather than later, but you also could sell me on Mizzou as a better team than Tennessee right now. But that is a conversation for another day. But this is interesting. So for so many different reasons, because the Vols have really struggled to get off the field on 3rd and 4th down. That's a problem that's crept back up in this game. Would really like to have Jermod McCoy in this game. Getting Jackson Moy will be good. I think their front four now, or their interior four, that they're going to heavily rotate with Dominic Bailey, who slid inside to pair Bryce Easton, Jackson Moy, and Nathan Robinson. It's really good. I think it's a really solid front four. So I feel a lot better that, because Mississippi State's got multiple backs who can hurt you, and I think Tennessee is getting a little bit healthier there and should be fine. And I think the Leos have done really well. I mean, they had, I think 9 TFLs in that game last week against UAB. They're always a great TFL team. They've been really good in the sack department through 4 weeks this season. So Tennessee is strong in some areas defensively, but also extremely weak in others. So some of the things I'm worried about with Tennessee, Mississippi State's number 1 in the country in 40+ yard passing plays with 9. So curious if Tennessee's going to be able to prevent that. Last year, they prevented those kind of plays all season long and were the best in the SEC at doing so. Like, something has to give there. Obviously, the history with Lebby and Heupel going way back. What does that look like between the two of them? Like I said, getting Jackson Moy back is a step in the right direction there in the interior, but they're 13-9 all time at Starkville. Fulmer only lost once there. Heupel obviously beat the team down last year when they came into Neyland, but that was a very different Mississippi State team. They went heavy, big spenders in the portal on the defensive line. Mississippi State's a more balanced team. I think the defense, it's not an elite defense, but it's a much better defense than they had a year ago. And the offense is pretty balanced. They have some solid backs and some solid receivers. Your former guy, Anthony Evans III, and Thompson, a couple other guys. So they got real juice, man. And if this was a night game in Starkville, I would lock up Mississippi State winning this game. I would lock it up. That's just a recipe for disaster for Tennessee. I really struggle with this. When I was talking to a neighbor friend of ours tonight with my wife when we were walking, and he asked me about it, and I leaned toward Mississippi State as we were talking a couple hours ago about it, and I've been really, really struggling with it because I can't shake this feeling that this is absolutely going to be a 1-score game with 2 minutes to go. And Tennessee on the road, I mean, it's going to be dark by that point. It's going to be loud. The cowbells are going. The crowd's really into it. I think this is going to be, I mean, this is a game Heupel cannot lose, because then you start 0-2 in SEC play. You still got to go to Bama. You, even if you're getting some guys healthy at the right time, it's just a lot of pressure on you to close really, really strong. Vanderbilt coming to town, Oklahoma coming to town. Still got to go to Gainesville too. You got to have this one. Like, you can't really afford to drop this one if you want to keep your college football playoff hopes alive. So I'm going to say they're going to get off the mat and they're going to find a way to survive. But I think this is going to be, I've gone back and forth. I think I said it was like 55% Mississippi State on this program. I'm not going to do it yet. I can't do it. I can't put Tennessee down here and have them lose this game. I can't do it, because if they do, it's going to stink. So give me Tennessee. Let's go Tennessee 35, Mississippi State 32.
All right. I'm a little surprised by that, even though I picked the same thing. I'm a little surprised at how nervous you are about this.
Oh, I think this is, it's a coin flip game. If you told me Mississippi State won this game, I would not be surprised. If you told me Tennessee won, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I think the 4-0 for the first time since 2014 element to this.
Yeah.
Just they're the fans. When fans actually believe in an SEC environment, it's a tough place to play.
Yeah, 100%. Where are we going next, Matt Green?
Let's go to the other big night game of the day. Or do you want to stay in the SEC? Let's go to the night game. Let's go to the night game. The opposite Georgia, Alabama, the site of College Game Day this week. Penn State at Oregon. Oregon at Penn State. Penn State's a 3.5-point favorite at home in this one. Which way are you leaning on this one?
I'm kind of glad this is the more I think about it, the more I'm glad that it's at the same time as Alabama, Georgia, because I think this is going to be gross. Both offenses, I don't really trust. Both defenses, I think, are elite. Both are top 10-ish defenses. Penn State's top 5 with where they're at defensively. I don't think either fan base is sold on their 5-star quarterback, whether that's Dante Moore or Drew Aller. Drew Aller has obviously been at Penn State a little bit longer. If I'm a Penn State fan, I'm sweating every week. Like, it's a nightmare situation for me, because I'm watching Bo Prabula carve up South Carolina on Saturday, and he just looks like a dude. Like, Bo Prabula is a better college quarterback than Drew Aller to this point. Like, I think I obviously understand there's a lot more at play, like just moving on from Aller and picking Prabula. Like, you better be dang sure that Prabula is the guy. But I think you talked about it, where he's Trace McSorley, right? Like, there's just something about him where you're like, I don't know. In the words of Chris Collins or Tony Romo, I don't know, Jim. Like I don't know about Drew Aller, and I don't know about Dante Moore either. Where we're gonna see what this looks like, but the early returns are not great. Penn State 64th in scrimmage plays in all of FBS, so long scrimmage plays, I should say. We know nothing about Oregon based on who they played at this point. Oregon State's sadly like one of the worst teams in FBS this year. I think they're 0-4 now. Like absolute disaster. They're gonna have to fire everybody and clean house. Like it just sucks. I feel bad for the Beavs, but they're awful. So you've learned nothing about Oregon through 4 weeks, and Penn State not even that much. We talked about their schedule at the top. So both teams we really don't know much about. Penn State's number one in possession defensive efficiency this point, so there's something there for them. When I was going through BCF Toys and all that kind of stuff on their advanced stats with college football, but we are all talking about why this is such a huge game for James Franklin, but I'm like, why are we talking about this being a big Dan Lanning game? Like James Franklin's going to go 10-2, make the playoff. Like he made the Final Four last year. Dan Lanning got blasted when he a much better Oregon team a year ago, where they were in the Rose Bowl and got embarrassed by the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. But you also look, Kalen DeBoer owned him before he left for Alabama in big spots. Like Dan Lanning, actually, I feel like has a lot to prove in this spot too. I mean, Oregon in their games against top 10 teams in the regular season last year, they won by a total of 4 points against Boise and Ohio State. I don't know. There's just a lot of angst among both fan bases, I would imagine right now, because the quarterback, the offense who you played, you kind of just want to sim to the playoff anyway to see how your team does this go around in the CFB. But I don't know. I think this game's going to be ugly. Like, I don't think either of these quarterbacks are good. I don't think either of these offenses have figured out what they're ultimately going to be here. I think the defenses are really good. Penn State, I just think their defense is going to be on full display. I think Dante Moore is going to have an awful game when he goes to Happy Valley here. I think this is going to be low scoring. I think this is going to be ugly. And I think both fan bases are going to come out of this game going, oh, I don't know. But a win or a loss is a loss. We're still probably going to make the playoff anyway. But yeah, give me Penn State 27, Oregon 23.
With all due respect, sir, Dan Lanning went 13-0 and won the conference last year.
And then embarrassed in his first big game.
Was it? You
said and he barely beat Penn State.
23?
Huh?
You said 27-23?
Yeah.
Penn State? Okay.
And he also barely beat Penn State in the Big Ten title game. They won by what, 8?
Yeah, but they beat them. They beat James Frank the last time they played him. That's why there's more. Like went 12 and that was a better
group last year. This Oregon team is not as good as they were a year ago.
Went 12-2 year 1, 13-1 year 2. Like what? Or no, 10-3 year 1, 12-2, then 13-1. Like Dan Lanning has earned the respect.
Well, no, I'm talking about the big games. I'm talking about the biggest of big games.
He beat Ohio State last year.
He also lost in the playoff to Ohio State.
That's true, but he also they get further in the playoff if the bracket isn't jacked up.
I'm a Dan Lanning guy. I'm just saying everyone gets all onto James Franklin, and I'm like, can Dan Lanning win one of these? Like this would be a huge win for Dan Lanning to go on the road in Happy Valley and win this football game.
James Lanning has won more big games than James
combined
Franklin
to
has.
James Lanning,
yeah. He beating Ohio State and Penn State last year is more than James Franklin has done since 2016 or whatever. He's gotten
further in the playoff than Dan Lanning. He got to the Final Four.
Dude, he only went further in the playoff because of who the teams had to play.
He beat Boise by a bigger margin than what Oregon beat Boise by in the same year. And Oregon got him at home.
If Penn State could play SMU and Boise, or if Oregon could play SMU and
Oregon played Boise and they barely beat them, they should have lost. They were right there.
They would have beat them again if they'd have beat them more.
I'm just saying we have the exact same teams. I mean, involved here a season ago, and Penn State beat Boise by a bigger margin than what Oregon did, and they were at home.
But do you care more about that? Ohio State beat Ohio State, and Penn State lost to Ohio State.
My broader point is we get on to James Franklin all the time here, and I'm like, I think James Franklin's proven more than Dan Lanning to this point. Dan Lanning needs this more than James Franklin.
And Dan Lanning beat James Franklin in the Big Ten championship last year.
That's fine. Who went further?
I'm not with you on that. I think Dan Lanning in 3 years as a head coach, give me Dan Lanning over James Franklin all day. I think that's the reason I'm taking Oregon is because.
Oh, you're taking Oregon to win this?
James Franklin doesn't win big games. He doesn't beat top 10 teams. Like he won 2 playoff games by beating 2 teams that were not top 10 teams. Maybe Boise State was ranked 10 or 11 or something, but they're not a Power 4 program. With all due respect to Boise State, like every year they lose. When Harbaugh was there, Michigan was good. They lose to Ohio State and Michigan, beat everybody else. And essentially last year, they didn't have to play Michigan. And so they only lost to Ohio State. Like that was essentially their regular season last year. Then they finally played Oregon, a second good team, and they lost to them. Like Penn State loses every time they play a legitimate top 5, top 10 team. Give me Oregon all the way. 38-31. Oregon wins this.
Night game, whiteout, and you're still taking Oregon.
Also, we all thought this was going to be a rock fight a year ago. They put up some points in the Big Ten championship.
In the dome.
You'll be surprised.
We'll see.
We don't know much about these two teams with these first 3 games. Like anything could happen, but I'm kind of with you. I don't think Drew Aller is good. I think Bo Pribula is better, but Dante Moore, I'm not out on Dante Moore by any means. This Oregon offense, I don't know, until they don't do exactly the same thing with Bo Nix that they did with Dylan Gabriel, and I'm going to trust that this Oregon offense is just going to keep making plays.
Fair enough, Matt Green. Where are we going next?
Let's go back to the SEC. Right, we got Lane Kiffin. What is it? Magnolia Bowl? Is this what they call this game? LSU, Ole Miss. Ole Miss at home, 2.5-point favorite. Trinidad Chambliss getting another start, sir. I'm all in on Trinidad Chambliss, sir. I think LSU, their resume kind of looks worse and worse week by week with Clemson and Florida. I don't know. It's Lane Kiffin at home. I think I'm buying the Rebels here, sir. I like Trinidad Chambliss is just super dynamic. This Ole Miss team's dangerous. Like I think it could be a shootout. Like we saw Arkansas put up a lot of points. Maybe they win that game if they don't fumble at the end. So I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be a shootout, but these LSU Ole Miss games tend to be, even though this is an improved LSU defense from a year ago, but I think there's going to be some points scored in this game. It's going to take 35 or so to win this game. Give me Ole Miss to your home dog of the week. Ole Miss Rebels, 35-31, knocking off the Tigers.
Interesting. I disagree. Here we go. This is a disagree weekend here, Matt Green.
It is.
It's still a big jump, man, to go from Division II to beating LSU here in a couple weeks. It's a big jump. I like the Chambliss story. I feel better about Ole Miss if Austin Simmons, even with what we've seen from Austin Simmons early on. I would feel
better than Austin Simmons as far as I'm concerned.
This is different. He beat Tulane in Kentucky?
I'm just saying Austin Simmons didn't look good in the early games either.
I don't disagree. I mean, we've seen some stuff against big games. I mean, he came in a big spot against Georgia last year and drove right down the field and scored a touchdown. I'm just saying, I'm not selling all my Austin Simmons stock. I think Chambliss, Blake Baker, one of the 15 best defensive coordinators in sport. I think LSU's defense is for real. I think LSU's offense has problems. It's probably not great that LSU's wins don't look big anymore with Florida and especially Clemson after their start. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can lose to the backup quarterback on the road here. LSU's got some real problems making the CFP. You obviously went really heavy in the portal. You got to win this game, man. LSU still got A&M on the schedule. They still got Bama. They still got a number of other challenges still ahead. And if they're going to get to 10-2, they can't lose this game. This is kind of a playoff eliminator, I think, for LSU because of who's still remaining on their schedule. I don't know. I think this is a humongous game for Brian Kelly and company to win here with the backup quarterback in Chambliss and how much you invested in the portal, especially on that defensive side of the ball. LSU 75th in yards per attempt offensively coming into this game. I'm not a Garrett Nussmeier guy, but this is a Garrett Nussmeier game, man. You got to go out on the road in Ole Miss and you got to win this football game, man. You need to go win this game. So I'm curious how this ultimately goes because the home team in this series has done pretty well of late. So I think I want to say the last 5 the home team has won in this series. I want to say So
Here, I
Ole
got it
Miss, you
right.
like them there?
I got it right here. Yeah, you're right. The last 5.
So we'll see if that streak continues. I don't think it does, though. I think LSU goes into Oxford and beats Ole Miss outright. I think it's a rough day at the office for Chambliss here with Blake Baker and this LSU defense having some time to prepare. And it's a very different defense than Tulane and Kentucky. Kentucky's has sneaky, terrible defense. Everyone just thinks Stoops, but if you go through all the numbers, like Kentucky's just awful in all kinds of ways this year. But no, give me LSU. Let's go. I think it's gonna be low scoring. I think they want to play just ground. I think they want to pulverize Ole Miss in this game. Give me LSU 24, Ole Miss 13.
Interesting. Holding a Lane Kiffin offense at 13 points. We'll see, sir.
I think it's a big, big game for LSU. If I'm an LSU fan, you lose this game, I'm very nervous about how the rest of the season is going to go.
Yeah, that's probably fair. The last one that we'll get before we get our quick hitters. Auburn at Texas A&M. A&M is a 6.5 point favorite in this one. I've gone back and forth about this one, and I apologize if I steal your kind of what you're thinking, because I think we talked about this last week. But I feel like A&M's kind of a diet version of Oklahoma. And so this feels like the same game 2 weeks in a row. Auburn going on the road at Oklahoma, now on the road at A&M. And also that way the officiating went in that game, it's reasonable to think Auburn could have won that game, or maybe should have won that game against Oklahoma. So I'm tempted, as bad as things kind of feel with Auburn, I'm tempted to pick Auburn in this one because of everything I laid out. I think Oklahoma is actually better, or at least at full strength is better than Texas A&M, but I don't know. I think ultimately I still believe in A&M. I believe in A&M's floor more than Auburn's floor. So it's Jackson Arnold going on the road again, and this is probably not as hostile of an environment as he's gonna face that he did in Oklahoma. But it's still an insane place to play, even if they're not personally yelling "F you" at the quarterback. It's still a loud place to play. I think I'm gonna say Auburn covers the spread, but give me A&M to win this one. I'm gonna say 27-24. A&M wins this one.
I have A&M winning and covering. I just did not come out of the game last Saturday and just being like, yeah, Jackson Arnold's turned the corner. I don't see it. Cam Coleman, shout out to him. Poor guy. Peyton Thorne, Jackson Arnold through the air back-to-back seasons. Jackson Arnold wasn't the reason you lost at Oklahoma last week, but the sacks and how many he's taking right now, holding on to the ball too long. I still don't like what I've seen from this Auburn offense outside of Singleton and Coleman. I don't know. It feels like they just got two Ferraris just sitting in the garage that just they cannot maximize with where they're at offensively, especially at the quarterback position. I don't think they're going into hostile territory in A&M and winning this football game. Like, I don't see it. This game last year was bonkers. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully it's bonkers again. I just think Marcel Reed, who can be very erratic as well, who no one can get a handle on, him versus Jackson Arnold in this one. This game's just going to be silly. I just have a hard time believing this game's not going to be very, very silly as the night goes on. But I mean, Arnold, for them to win on the road in A&M, he's going to throw it on the field. Like, he's going to have to attack with Coleman and company. Singleton's going to have a couple of big plays in space. I don't know. I do think the sneaky thing about A&M, where Mike Elko is calling the defense, I believe, again this year, but you got to fire Bateman, right? Like, this is one of those where it's the Alex Grinch, Todd Grantham type deal where you're like, I didn't like the hire at the time. And I think A&M weirdly has some problems again defensively. They're 74th in opposing quarterback rating. I don't love this A&M defense. I mean, Notre Dame carved them up a week ago too. Notre Dame could have absolutely just won that game outright. So I think A&M's defense is gettable from other teams. I just don't think Auburn is going to be that team who takes advantage. But the home team has won the last four. And I looked at the rest of Auburn's schedule. I have A&M winning 30. Let's go 34-20 A&M. But Auburn might go a month and a half between wins, Matt Green, when I was looking at the schedule. It could get pretty dicey. Hugh Freeze is not in the hot seat yet. But you look at their schedule, from where they last won to the next win, where I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty comfortable saying Auburn's going to win. That's a month and a half. And I wonder what that's going to look like if he goes a month and a half in between wins here this fall.
I don't know. I don't think I'm as low on Auburn as you are. Like, I'm not like high on Auburn, but even with everything that you said about them, like they could have won that Oklahoma game. So it's like, it was not a good performance. And that was, I mean, it's early in the season, but Oklahoma looks like maybe the best defense in the SEC at this point. I'm not saying they will be by season's end, but they look elite. So I don't know that I don't know. Like, I don't know that I think A&M can do those same things that Oklahoma did to Auburn from a week ago. I'd be surprised if this is a 2-touchdown game, personally.
That's fair. I would be very surprised if Auburn won this game on the road. But they got Georgia in 2 weeks. They get a bye. Georgia, Missouri, who's really good. At Arkansas is probably the next one. But that would be, if they lose those Saturday and then the next two, that would be South Alabama was September 13th, and their next win would be at Arkansas on the 25th.
I'm not penciling in at Arkansas either. Like that's
what I'm saying.
It's not going to be easy.
And you got to go to Vanderbilt still, and you can't get over the Pavia hump. I don't know, man.
Yeah, Pavia circles that Auburn game.
100%. Well, you want to do some quick hitters as we wrap up here tonight, Matt Green?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Friday night, Florida State, Virginia. Virginia 7.5 point dog. They gonna get it done?
I hate this because I did it. Wake should have done this. They were distracted by the fire, the cooking fire, whatever it was, a couple weeks ago. I had Wake taken the upset there, and I was really upset because they got off to that hot start, and then they ended up losing to NC State. I'm not falling prey to it again. I will say I will not be surprised if this is a great game on Friday night. Or you say Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
Yeah. I think Virginia's got a really good offense. Chandler Morris and company. They're good. I think Virginia's spicy, but if Florida State's a top 10 team like they're ranked right now, they should be able to go into UVA and win this football game. So I would not be surprised if this one's a spooky game where Florida State's got to be on upset alert, but I still will take the Noles to win. I think let's say this will get pretty weird. Let's go 32 Florida State, 28 Virginia.
You said what? 32-28?
Yeah, give me Florida State to win, but Virginia to cover.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Florida State is legit. I think they're the best team in the ACC. I think they're going to take care of business. I think give me Florida State 37-23. I think they win this easily. Even though I do hate picking against a team on the road or a team at home on a weekday. But yeah, give me Florida State to win it.
All right. Where are we going next, Matt Green?
TCU at Arizona State. I struggled with this one. Arizona State's a 2.5 point favorite. I really like TCU, but I think I'm going with the home dog here, or the home team here. I'm going to Arizona State.
Yeah, I don't like this game at all. I don't think Arizona State's very good this year. I just think they're taking a step back. I think TCU is really, really good. I think Josh Hoover might be the best quarterback in the Big 12. I think TCU is going to keep this thing humming. Give me TCU road win and upset outright. Give me the Frogs 38, Arizona State 30.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm kind of regretting picking Arizona State. I think TCU is better, but it's what's done is done. We'll keep the picks. I'm already I took my hand off the piece, like the chess. That's rules in chess, right? Now it's official. USC, Illinois. Illinois is at home, and they are a 7.5 point home dog. I feel like I might be overreacting to the performance against Indiana, but I don't know. They just gave up a 60 spot. Like, I think I'm going USC to go on the road and get this done. I don't have this data about the West Coast teams traveling east on the road. I don't think it's good, but give me USC to win this one. I'm going to say 33-23.
Yeah, I think USC is going to win this game too. I think Illinois, unfortunately, they're getting whipped back-to-back weeks. I don't like this spot for them during the day, but we'll see. It's an early kickoff for USC traveling over to Illinois. But yeah, I think Illinois, it's not going to be as bad as 63-10 a week ago, but I think USC's offense is absolutely legit. Maybe it's just he's a player, man. And this Lincoln Riley offense is humming again. Give me USC. Let's go USC 38, Illinois 24.
All right, put it on the board.
Notre Dame, Arkansas, 6.5 home dogs. Arkansas fresh off a loss on the road at Memphis last week. What say you, Matt Green?
I like the Razorbacks. Got a soft spot for the Razorbacks. They're just so fun to watch. They're must-see television. Their games are going to be competitive. They're going to come down to the wire. Arkansas 100% covers this spread. If they didn't lose to Memphis, I might pick them to win this game. I really don't. I honestly want to pick them to win this game. I'm not a believer in Notre Dame right now, even though, it's not like they're losing any cupcakes or anything with Miami and who's the other game they lost to?
Texas A&M.
A&M, yeah. It's not like they're losing any cupcakes over here, but I don't know. I think maybe I don't have the guts to do it, but I think Arkansas keeps this close. But let me give me Notre Dame to pull it out 31-30.
Yeah, I think Arkansas's offense is legit. They had problems in the second half against Memphis, obviously, but we'll see. A lot of pressure on Sam Pittman in this one, but I think they're going to show well at home. I think Notre Dame's defense, especially their secondary, stinks. I think the defense is just bad. Chris Ash is a bad defensive coordinator, hire of this cycle to replace Al Golden. I'm curious if he's a one and done for Marcus Freeman and that staff, but we shall see. I think CJ Carr and company, the offense is good, but the defense has real problems. So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think Notre Dame's going to have to win some shootouts this fall to get to where they want to be ultimately. But give me Notre Dame. Let's go Notre Dame 42, Arkansas 37.
I like it.
Ohio State at Washington, second longest home win streak in college football. The Huskies have. They're 9.5-point home dogs. I will go ahead and tell you they are my home dog of the week. Matt Green, what say you?
Oh, do you get a home dog of the week? How does this work? I thought that was my thing.
I still want to throw it out. I'm pro dog, as you know, with Khaleesi the dog.
So you're
an underrated dog, by the way. The Husky doesn't get any love. He's a cute dog over there in the Northwest. No one ever talks about him. He never gets any shine.
Yeah, that's fair. When we named the three a couple weeks ago, I did leave that one out. You have the name? What's the name of their Husky? I don't know that off the top of my head, but
question. I want to say Storm or something. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Reveille. See, that's why it's underrated. We know Reveille, we know Uggo, we know
Dubs.
Dubs. That's a quality name.
I knew I thought it was an age name. There's Harry the Husky. So the non-human or the human, who wears it is Harry the Husky, but the actual dog mascot is named Dubs.
So they got Harry the Husky, and they're trying to do the dogs, the DAWGS. They're just posing off Georgia all over the place. It sounds like up in the Northwest.
He's a good boy, man.
This is your home dog of the week. You're picking Washington to win this game.
I am picking Washington in this game. I think it keeps going. I don't think Ohio State I think Ohio State's going to be sleepy. They're going to take them for granted. And I mean, this is a tough place to play for whatever reason. I think Devon Williams is a really good player. I think Ohio State is not going to take Washington seriously in this spot. I think this has upset written all over it. I think Washington keeps this home streak going.
Man, this is another one. This is just like Mississippi State, Arizona State. I have all the same vibes as you do, and I don't think we know nearly as much about Ohio State as we think we do after beating.
Like Washington just dropped 59 on Washington State. They dropped 70 on UC Davis.
Yeah. Like that Texas win was huge in week 1, but it's like Texas looks, I don't know, they look pretty average, honestly, right now. So I don't know what to make of that win right now. So I'm almost there with you. I'm taking Washington to cover, but give me Ohio State 27, Washington 23. I think they pull it out.
Give me Washington 35, Ohio State 31.
Man, that would be that'd be the upset of the day, I think. That'd be the biggest storyline of the
Ohio State's number 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one, Indiana, Iowa. Iowa is a 7.5-point home dog. like I said, with the USC Illinois preview, maybe I'm reading too much into the 60 spot that Indiana just put up. But give me the Indiana. They look damn good. I'm gonna say Indiana 42, Iowa 28.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I'm picking Indiana, but I don't feel good about it. This is one feels like a lock to me that Iowa's covering. It's going to be so much closer than what you saw from Indiana, Illinois last week, but I think it's going to be gross. I think Iowa's going to put them in a blender defensively, and it's going to be a very different kind of game. But I do think Indiana ultimately wins this game outright. But I think it's going to be ugly and close. Give me Indiana 20, Iowa 17.
All right, put it on the board. So we got some disagreements on the board. Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Penn State, Ole Miss, LSU, TCU, Arizona State. Although I was flip flopping on that one. And then Washington, Ohio State. So win loss, we got some a lot of disagreements this week.
We do have a lot of disagreements this week, but it's going to be interesting to see how this ultimately plays out here. I think this is going to be a really, really fun, wacky weekend of college football, Matt Green. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a massive weekend. And I think if your prediction is correct and Washington beats Ohio State, I know we've already had some craziness this year in the week 1, week 2, but I feel like that would kind of become the new biggest win of the season. And in my opinion, just kind of shaking up the top 5, top 10 with Ohio State losing. And then whatever happens in Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Penn State, the rankings are probably going to look a little different next week.
I think so. Well, Matt Green, that's all I've got, my friend. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
That's all I got, man. If you want to tune in, Georgia Voice of College Football, 7:00 Eastern every Monday, and then we'll be coming to you with a post game instant reaction on Saturday night. I can't guarantee what time that's going to start, but I can't guarantee the mood either, but we'll be doing it. We'll be reacting to it. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
There you go. Matt Green, always a pleasure. And I'll talk to you again in a couple days.
Yes, sir.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.